lightning lanes and spreadsheets, or laid back, free and easy. How do you do Disney? Let's bring back the magic.
Bring back the magic for all to see. Together we'll discover all the joy and gloom. In every story, there's a little bit of gold. Join our podcast adventure, let the magic unfold.
All right, everybody. Welcome. This episode is brought to you by Theme Park Chuckle. Make sure you stop by Theme Park Chuckle to grab yourself a funny Disney-based shirt or two, such as the ever classy Let's Get Trashed t-shirt featuring everyone's favorite festival dining table, the World Showcase trash can. Grab yours today at Theme Park Chuckle. All right, thank you. I also like to remind everybody that this podcast is rated TV 14. So any of you younger viewers, kiddies, or this is pretty clean throughout it, but have your parents' permission if you're going to watch or listen on YouTube or Spotify. Thank you so much for that. I am one of your hosts. I'm Josh.
And I'm his sister, Gina. And for those of you just joining us, welcome aboard.
And stay clear of the doors. So Gina and I just got back from what was, I think, a really wonderful trip that we took, kind of like off the cuff kind of thing. We decided to go down to Disney. We had a wonderful time, had some family, a family member or two with us and a couple of good friends. And we got to stay at the Copper Creek Cabins, the Cascade Cabins, as they're known as. I just call them the Copper Creek Cabins. I mean,
Same.
Honestly, it's a little hoity-toity to refer to them in that way. But so we were blessed to be able to stay there. It was a great thing. We had a few nights in there, and we really enjoyed it. Gina, what was your favorite part of that?
Well, first I'd like to say we did get to meet up with some family while we were there, unexpectedly, and that was really nice. So
that was wonderful.
That was, for me, a highlight, definitely. I also would say that, I think you're going to say the same thing I am. Our in-cabin podcast was like my favorite part. As narcissistic as it may sound, I've listened to that podcast at least 3 or 4 times and laughed just as hard each time.
It does.
It
does. It sounds awful. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's funny.
I have listened to the same. Like I have it in my car. Sometimes I have like that Android Auto Play or whatever it is, kind of like Apple CarPlay. So when I plug my phone in, it automatically comes into the last thing I was listening to. And most of the time it's something me checking something on the podcast, doing whatever. And that one keeps like popping up. And I'm like, oh, and I listen to it. My wife's like, did we already listen to this? I'm like, well, you'll listen to it again because I think it's great because it's so just carefree in that one. That bonus content on Spotify, only on Spotify, guys.
Yeah.
You can find that bonus content currently. Go and check it out.
But I think something valuable to know, because again, you and I know each other and our friends know us, but the listeners are just kind of getting to know us. And hopefully over time, you guys will know us better and better because what you see is what you get. These are not personalities we have crafted for the show. This is who we really are. I'd like to think we would have written much better characters for ourselves. Just kidding.
I would have made myself far more attractive.
I would have made myself better. But anyway, I think the thing to know, though, is as funny as that sounds, like, oh my God, we're listening to our own podcast. Because to us, it's like rewatching a home movie with your friends. It wasn't about like, ooh, this is our great podcast, like our product. It was literally like so organic, exactly how we interact with our friends. So it wasn't, so to just cut us some slack there, that it wasn't about, oh my God, we're the greatest podcasters. We listen to our show. It's like, oh my God, this was such a funny moment in our trip. And we're laughing hysterically about how it went down.
I loved every second of it. I'll be honest with you. Also, I love, and just a side note, I love that when we do this thing to see what you'll wear each week. Because me, it's very simple. Like very simple. I'm Josh going to be in a hat and maybe a Disney t-shirt, maybe not. Who knows? Nobody wants to see me without a shirt on because Grossville. And also look like I'm still wearing a tank top. I was out power washing a fence and I look like I'm still wearing it. Yeah, that's what happens when you're not that tanned anymore. I'm afraid of the sun. But when I see you, Gina, it's funny because I always lead back to the Vinylmation comment. Because anytime you wear a pair of ears on this, I can't stop thinking about that. But now it's even different. This is not insulting. Take it as you will. Okay. But from this angle, it's funny because I can't see where your sleeves go. So it kind of looks like you're a Vinylmation getting a haircut. Because you have You have like a smock
I
on.
was like wearing a cape.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like you're
For
wearing a
those of
cape.
you who are
I'm
listening on
expecting
Spotify,
Vidal Sassoon to come behind you.
yes, for those listening on Spotify and can't appreciate, feel free to jump over to our YouTube channel so you can appreciate all
Yeah,
my
the
outfits.
visual is appealing. Gina's a very beautiful woman, if I may say so, but it's
Funny
funny.
story. Our sister Danny said last week, I missed your ears this week. I was like, Danny, we've done 12 episodes at that point. I'd only worn ears twice. She was like, oh, really? Like thinking that
Yeah,
I'd worn them every
observing
week.
things isn't top on a resume.
Well, so I did wear ears this week for Danny, but I'm actually in a little DVC theme here.
I
By
think I got you
accident,
those ears.
I got a new shirt this time. I really love it. You can't really see it that well because I'm backwards, but it's a DVC shirt that I got at the Wilderness Lodge. So cute, so overpriced.
At the hair cuttery.
Ears you got me. These are the ears you got me.
That's what I said. I'm like, I got you the matching lounge fly. It was a
Yeah,
DVC.
these are actually one of the
member.
most comfortable pairs of Disney ears I have because everybody knows Disney ears are insanely uncomfortable. They're so tight on your head. So these are actually really comfortable. I could potentially wear these for a full day. But funny story what you were just saying about my outfit though, because when we were watching some old home movies of Disney trips that you got put on Legacy Box and so we could watch them. But I noticed it was blowing my mind that I wasn't, and my cousin Christiane, or our cousin Christiane said this too, that we weren't in Disney gear every single day. Because now when I go to Disney, I think it's weird. Like I know there's days you don't wear Disney stuff. I wear Disney stuff.
I think
every single day.
your entire wardrobe came from like Gadzooks at the mall.
Yeah,
way
Gadzooks
back when
or,
there's, like, shiny jackets
what's
you
the
had.
other one? PacSun.
PacSun,
Yeah.
by the way, PacSun is not PacSun anymore. It used to be like a surf style shop. Now my
Yeah.
daughter just went there and bought a bunch of like Brandy Melville stuff, and like it
Ooh.
looks like it's like that, and it turned
I
into
didn't
like
know
more of
that.
a Hot Topic. Like it was
Oh,
just
that's fun.
weird. It's like it's not really
That's
surf apparel
disappointing.
themed. I'm like, where
Yeah.
can they do this? But that's a separate topic. But speaking of separate topics, let's get into our hot takes for the week. I'll go first because I know you were still kind of
I
braining
think I've
on
got
what
mine.
you'd like
Yeah.
to say.
But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Otherwise, I'd say lady first.
No.
My hot take for the week, and it may be a hot take, it may not be a hot take. I am a Disney purist, but in one way, I am not anymore. The contemporary. I feel like the contemporary from an outer like look needs a facelift. I mean, again, it is an A-frame hotel and all. It looks just stale. Like even though it's lit up and stuff, it just looks stale. Like add some cool lights to it or something like that are like they have some lighting things, but even Bay Lake Tower, you could do something really cool on the outside of that to make it stand out.
Do you know what's so funny about you saying that? I mean, everybody knows I handle the majority of our social media. Occasionally Josh will jump on and do something, but it's primarily me. Josh handles all the production. Josh handles all the production for the show. But when I posted that reel recently about pretend I'm Bob Iger and pitch me your best Disney pitch, somebody commented, I'm sorry if that person is listening to this podcast and I don't remember who it was offhand, but they said they think the contemporary should be rethemed to a Star Wars hotel. They said, but like the 1970s ones, like the original, like 4, 5, 6 episodes, they go, I feel like it's such a fit for a Star Wars hotel.
I mean, somebody did mention that Disney needed a Star Wars hotel.
That's why I think it's funny.
But I feel like it was cool back in the day. It's great that the monorail runs through. It's a very neat hotel. The rooms are modular. They can slide in and out of there. It's how they built the thing and everything else. And Bay Lake, I feel like maybe the Villain's Lair kind of thing. We were talking about that. Maybe that needs a little bit of an update. But I feel like the contemporary needs something. I don't know what it is. It's very cold. You go to the garden rooms or something. It's a very cold feeling hotel. I get it's contemporary, but you can do like more modern-esque contemporary kind of stuff without making it feel completely just like, I don't know, penitentiary. That's what I told you. I feel like the Riviera suffers from. The outside of it looks like a prison to me. I feel like this color palette's awful. I don't want to be a pain, but I'm like, that's my take on that. I mean, there's beautiful parts of that hotel, don't get me wrong, but contemporary, I think it's time to update a little bit and do something a little better. They've got great different things to it, like California Grill, Chef Mickey's, all these kind of things.
I could get on board with that, getting a little bit of a glow up, like not like trashing and not taking it down, not anything, but like glowing it up a little and bringing it in, because as much as I was devastated when they took out the big centerpiece of the Polynesian and started refacing that because I was so used to the old, it does look nice and clean and everything. So I kind of got over that. I think the contemporary could definitely use a facelift.
Yeah, I feel like I think it's a fair hot take, but Gina, what's yours?
Mine is that
Be quick about it. I'm just kidding.
I think that Christmas should last longer than Halloween. And what I mean by that is Halloween now starts. Halloween, which used to just be a day, globally accepted as a day, maybe a weekend, depending when it fell, and became a season at Walt Disney World. I'm not against that. But Halloween now starts like, it used to be August 31st. Now I think it's starting even earlier.
Prices are outrageous. I mean, the
mid-August.
later
Okay.
you get into it,
So
the
you
prices are
get
outrageous.
all of September, all of October, now some of August as well. But Christmas at Walt Disney World is barely 2 months. So what bothers me about that is that for somebody who's coming around that season, like I prefer Christmas over Halloween, and that's fine. Like I'm no disrespect to anybody who enjoys the whole Halloween vibe. Good for you. I love fall. Fall's my favorite season, but I prefer the Christmas decorations over the Halloween decorations. Just always have. But, and actually, this may be a hot take. I prefer the Christmas party over the not so scary party. But I feel
It's a
like,
different vibe. It's a different vibe, and I'm actually kind of with you in the same
yeah.
boat there. So
And I
don't
may have
don't
mentioned this in a previous podcast. I
controversial.
can't remember again because you and I talk so much off and then on. I can't always keep track of which one I said on the show. But I feel like it's unfortunate that if they're going to do it that way, then November 1st, anything Christmas themed. I know they take down the decorations overnight and start putting them up, even though they're not all complete overnight, but they started out. All of the Christmas things should start at least the first weekend, like when the Christmas party starts, because I'm going to die on this hill. It makes me crazy that I've never seen the glimmering greenhouses at Living with the Land because I'm not going to come around Thanksgiving or thereafter, maybe on a rare occasion. But I feel like they were up when I was there in November last year or the year before. The lights were there. They just weren't lighting them yet. And I really, really, really wish they would have all that available so people who come for the Christmas spirit could have it the whole time and not just this little fraction of basically like 6 weeks of Christmas, but like freaking, 10 of Halloween or more. So that's my hot
No, I
take.
think that's
Sorry.
a fair hot take. And like briefly, I'll just say my little piece to this is I feel like the Christmas season, they don't have as much to compete with because the Halloween Horror Nights
Right.
in Universal are a very big draw for Universal because they do it like that's a very adult theme kind of thing. I mean, that's not Disney-esque. That is, you are going in there to be scared. There's so much that revolves around it. That is their wheelhouse with horror and everything else.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. So they're like, well, we got to try to we're getting some tourism. We got to pull some in because the people that are visiting to go to that, they don't do a lot with the Christmas season for that stuff. So I feel like Disney, they should have it extended, but you only have so much time.
I would also like to put a pin in this idea and remind me that I think we could do an entire episode about holidays at Walt Disney.
Oh yeah, we will. That's what I was going to also say.
Because I have so much more to say, but obviously I don't want to take away time from the main topic.
And speaking of main topics, this week's main topic is how do you do Disney? Now, when Gina and I were just on our recent trip, and we realized because our trips of yesteryear, we'll call them, were structured a lot differently because times were different. It wasn't the same systems they had in place. We're talking anywhere from the old paper tickets to get into the park, turnstile stuff. There's no magic bands, there's no fast passes. As everything came out, your trips change, but I feel like now it's like the more things change, the more they stay the same. So when the park opened, you had things where you were getting tickets for rides and stuff, the e-ticket stuff. This would cost this much, this would this, and it was kind of like a la carte in certain things. Now I feel like we're back to that if you actually want to ride something. So when people are doing the multi-pass system, which by the way, on this trip, I will say, because I'm going to go first on this because I'm talking and you'll listen to what I have to say. But I will say that it worked out nice when you want to get on attractions. I've been to Disney so much. I saw somebody that did a little social media thing like Disney pass holders through the years, like year 1, year 2, year 3, like, oh, I'm going to do this. And by the end of it, year 5, you're just going there, grabbing a snack and leaving. Their snack choice was like cheeseburger, spring rolls, which I said, I go, yeah, they're not as great as everybody says they are. But they're not as great as everybody thinks they are. I wouldn't go to Magic Kingdom just for that. I would go in there and literally just go and maybe have some mini corn dog nuggets or something like that. And a Dole Whip, 100%. But it's like when you go now with the multi-pass system, you can get on rides. I'm not somebody, like, again, relating to that video, I'm not somebody that has to go on all the rides. I'm content walking through the park, seeing some things, checking out all the Stitch merchandise because it's everywhere. And then, Gina loves watching or looking at all the Stitch merchandise, of course, because she loves Stitch. And if you watch this podcast a lot, you'll realize that she is #1 Stitch fan. So #1 best friend. And so when I go around the parks, I'm just kind of milling about, and it's my happy place. I love it. I go on, if I'm getting on rides, it's stuff like Carousel Progress and like the People Mover because it just gives me the feels, and Haunted Mansion especially. I'll wait for that. So it's a lot of things that are short lines. With this multi-pass system, you can get on everything, but I always said I structure my trips not structured because I like to be kind of like, oh, we could do this. My trips are mainly structured around meals. I used to do a
The
couple
meal.
meals a day. Meal. Yeah,
The
if you watch
meal.
that episode, as the woman from the Seasons place in the land. Meal. Yeah, apparently that's milk.
The meal.
Yeah, that meal. A meal. And he's also in Ratatouille. So if you go through and you look at like how I do stuff, I would go and plan out a couple meals. And I realized you can't do a lunch and a dinner kind of thing because it literally just sucks life out of your day. Plan one sit down thing a day. If you're going to do it, if you're
Agreed.
fortunate enough to do that, it is expensive to dine in Disney. I know they allowed you to bring food in and stuff like that now, especially because people have little picnic lunches and stuff on like in front of the castle and all. And that's nice. I mean, again, prices are surging everywhere. If you can save $1 where you can save $1, I'm like, it adds up over time.
For sure.
So I think with me, I would structure it around my meals, but not around like, oh, we got a lightning lane here. And while we're in line, let's pick another lightning lane. I'm like, this to me is not as fun because I kind of just like walking and doing stuff, especially in Epcot. When I hit the countries, man, I hit the countries and I just start walking. I sit, I grab a little bite to eat, I grab another drink, and then I grab 6 or 7 more drinks, and then I try to crawl out of there. But that's how I am. Now, this trip was a little different because we have our friend Caitlin with us. And Caitlin she's not an annual pass member, but she's gone to Disney a lot. She's pretty knowledgeable of the park. She has that Disney vibe to her. Because she's not going to be there a million times during the year and she wants to get her stuff. She gets on a lot of rides. She wants to get stuff. It was very nice to buy us like lightning lanes for stuff and everything, which I'm very appreciative of. But I always feel like with me, I was telling people about this. I feel anxiety when I'm like, oh, we got to go here. We got to be here. I'm like, what time do I got to get ready? I don't feel as at ease on my vacation. I don't want my vacation to be work, even though I enjoy the rides. I feel like I just don't want to be told where I've got to be every second of the day. I'd rather be on vacation because Disney, you need a vacation from your vacation when you're done. I'll let you talk now, Gina, because this sermon has gone on way too long.
And Gina's there.
And Gina was on the
And
podcast.
Gina was there. Here's the thing. I like that you and I differ on this topic somewhat. I'm not going to say 100% because I think that makes it interesting when you and I have different viewpoints.
You say differ. I say I'm right and you're wrong. Is that the same difference?
First, I would like to say that Caitlin and Stephanie did both ask me before we went if we were going to do multi-passes. I said yes because, again, when you and I are on an adult trip, it's very different.
I kid, by the way, that was very appreciative, and they're two wonderful ladies.
When I have my 8-year-old son with me and we have our mom who's in a wheelchair, putting them in a long line for anything is not a good idea. So we did want them to go and do things. It's not very convincing to tell my 8-year-old, we're just going to walk around Epcot, around the countries and drink, and you're just going to watch us. Like, that's not fun for him. So that when you and I go back, it's going to be very different.
Some booze.
When we did our adult trips, we did the pool all day and then just strolled in at night and did those. So it really does depend on who you're with.
Yes.
So they asked if we were going to do multi-passes. God bless them. They got up, they booked them. I didn't feel any anxiety. I actually felt the opposite this time because I felt like, oh, thank God. Because I hate wandering around aimlessly and being like, oh, this line's too long. This is too long. And
maybe I'm just a jerk and that's the problem. I don't know. Maybe
that's a whole nother episode.
That's very much it. Maybe
I get where you're coming from, that like your style, but to me, I cater my style to who I'm with. And this is where it digs into in our family, which there's 6 children in our family, right? In our family, even us kids do Disney differently. So we know when we go on a trip, let's say like Mindy and Brianna will tell you like they're get up a little later, but they're going to hang long term to the end of the day. They also don't come back and change for dinner generally. Whereas like with us, we like to get out like a decent time. We're not necessarily rope droppers. We do that on occasion, depending where we're staying. Like maybe rope drop Epcot if you're staying at the boardwalk. Contemporary, obviously you're going to rope drop Magic Kingdom one day because why would you not? You can walk right there. But we're kind of like, and then we like to come back usually if we have a nicer dinner somewhere else, change for dinner. So everybody's kind of got their own way, and I will go with the flow depending on who I'm with. You are right on the head about if you're not an annual pass holder, you've paid a lot of money for a pass to just walk around and have drinks. Epcot is not going to be appealing. You do want to get the things in that you are interested in. Obviously, my son's a priority of he wants to get on stuff. I want him to be able to do that. And I felt relieved because I feel like it gave us more of our day. Because if we waited an hour in line for one ride, just because we said, okay, well, we'll go wait for Guardians, and we waited an hour, in that same hour with multipass, we could have ridden 2 rides, and gotten like right on. We did Ratatouille and Guardians in that same time.
Just pause here. You're going to hear something. You're right.
Uh-oh. What are
You're
you going to
right.
fart?
No. What podcast am I on? What fartcast is this? Welcome to our pootcast. Anyway, so I was going to say, you're right. No, you make a great point for it. I've learned over time especially after being married for like 18 years.
Yeah.
I think that's correct too. Again, who knows? It's me. So I learned to say I'm wrong. And I can see where somebody else can be right in something. But no,
but you're
make
not
a good
wrong
point.
for wanting it the way you want. Like, you're not
No,
wrong.
I feel like it's a
of how you
separation
like
of how you feel about it, who you
Yeah.
travel with. It's definitely your traveling party. Gina and I will be making another little jaunt down to Disney within the next month. We're gonna have some great content for you guys. We hope great content. We know we don't want to seem
We'll have content. I'll tell you that much.
we'll have
Because
content. How
the
great
one
it
thing
is.
we
Nothing
didn't get
cool. I mean,
this
if you want to
time-
watch it, watch it. If you don't,
one
don't
thing
tell
we
us.
didn't really get was we had a lot of plans for content, but I actually have no regrets. We had a great time with family and friends, like things I couldn't even have planned. Again, we got to see our other sister who we rarely get to see and a couple of her girls, and that was phenomenal. So I have no regrets that we didn't get as much content as we wanted, because Disney's not going anywhere, and you and I got enough that we
had
could
a
be creative
choice.
in the meantime.
We had a choice, and especially I had a choice. Okay, when we were sitting there, when you're going around, you're seeing a lot of podcasters, you're seeing a lot of content creators in Disney. You're going to see a ton of them. Some are great. We'll talk about some kind of people that come around there, and then there is an entitlement to certain people that feel like just because they're filming something, they don't have to follow the same rules as everybody else.
Right, I can't wait to do that.
And I don't have anything against people from foreign nations or something that are coming in to get content. So it's like us going to Paris, going to one day maybe Dubai or to Tokyo or something. Like, there's cultures are different. So I remember there was a woman walking with like doing her things, and like the bus comes, obviously a long line of people waiting for the bus and everything. And she's like filming the bus again, and then right in front of everybody, and then gets onto the bus. And I go, well, apparently woman is better than everybody. And then
had a multipass
loud on the bus. I go, I don't like that.
No.
But people do. They have different ways they do things. And I had a choice this time as somebody that wants to create content. My mother's there. She's older, just a little bit incapacitated from like some prior surgeries and stuff, and she's kind of rehabilitating from. And I try to be as good as I can to help out where I can. I'm not patting myself on the back or anything else. But my mom, like, I'd rather roll her in one of the wheelchairs in the park than have her anxiety ridden or running people over in an ECV and being like, oh, you're like, and then there's a whole other set of problems. Well, I'm pushing her. Meanwhile, it's unseasonably hot right now in every park, where it is like, as my oldest sister, who was down there, I got to reconnect with. Hello, Missy. It was wonderful seeing you and your beautiful family. But it's like, she referred to it as the devil's beehole, and we'll just admit that. And it is. It's true. It's just hot, steamy, and stank down there. And I was I couldn't agree more. But I'm pushing my mother, and whether my mom weighs 3 pounds or 4 billion, and she doesn't, she's nowhere close to that. It's still pushing somebody around a park. It doesn't matter how light or heavy the person is. I am drenched in sweat. I think in one of the videos you showed me on Instagram or whatever, I'm like, my glasses were filled with water. Like goggles. Like, I put them down. I took my hat off. Water just comes dripping down off my face like a faucet. When you're bald and you have a hat on, your head steams in there. It just builds up on the top of your head, and then it pours down when you take your hat off. Everybody's like, did you swim here? I'm like, no, I'm out of shape. I'm bald. It is really, really hot in here. Yeah. And I don't understand. So I'm trying not to sweat on my mother as I'm pushing around, but I had the choice, roundabout way of saying this. I had the choice whether to push my mom and get her around the parks and let her enjoy a trip, and how many more she wants to come on, we don't know. So I'm like, this is time I can have her around the park. I said, I can sacrifice the content I would have gotten on this trip and just go with the flow. That was kind of me just saying, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. Push her around the park. We'll get the content another time. And as luck and God would have it, we're on another trip coming down. It'll be Gina and myself and one of our friends will probably help us out here and there that's local. But that kind of stuff, it's like you make of the trip what you will, but that's a good thing. Like I always see, like, when it's, again, how do you do Disney? It's like, it's an unknown now. Mm-hmm. So if we go back, do you remember the days? Okay, pre not even the pre-fast pass days when fast passes were announced, and it was the ticket system. It wasn't anything you did and you booked beforehand. It was like you went into the parks, they were available that day, you went to each
Set up
kiosk.
real big on a marquee what time you were going to get when
Yeah,
you put
time frame, you'd come back, you could grab one. Once it was sort of certain, then you grab another one from another ride if you want, but you couldn't have a bunch of them just sitting like a pile of tickets in there. Like that, it made for a pretty even system and the distribution was good, but the big rides would be out of fast passes pretty early on. So you wouldn't have to plan your entire trip. Now it feels like you have to plan a majority of your trip before you go, and that's fine for some people. Other people, it's kind of like, what do I do? And that's why we exist, by the way. That's like people like us and other creators, same as us, better than us, less good. There's probably not a ton of those, but it's like, but we're very self-deprecating.
If you're worse than us,
We
please
rock.
comment below.
Where's my
Comment
word?
below.
Thank you. But no, there's a lot of people out there to help with those things. And
Yeah.
Gina and I, we mentioned shamelessly, we'll be putting together a vacation planner thing that we're going to do.
Yeah.
So they can help with that stuff for like the newbies in Disney, even the veterans. How do you make your trip a little more efficient? How do you get from point A to point B? I get that my way of doing a trip is not as action packed because I've been there so much.
Mm-hmm.
I actually enjoy watching other people experience the parks for the first time. I enjoy people watching a lot, not in a weird, creepy way. So don't get the weird idea about that. It's like Josh's not going around like, look at all these people enjoying Disney. Anyway, I know that's weird. Anyway, so I just like being there, arranging the trip my way. But other people might want to get on a million rides. They might want to experience every snack that Disney has available, every kind of show that they can do, a secret behind the scenes thing. Maybe wants to take a tour. There's people that are very historical about things that want to learn about certain aspects of the park. They want to do the Keys to the Kingdom tour, the Ruin the Magic tour, as we've come to be known. But that's kind of like what I'm talking about.
I think that another interesting or important point, I should say, is you said about having too many plans gives you anxiety. And I think that that's a key factor here is anxiety is driven by different forces for people. Like, for example, Amy, a good friend of ours, Amy Kirby, she likes to have everything planned because she gets anxiety to not have everything planned. So for her, a trip our style would create anxiety in her. So for, you and I, like I said, I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, I don't like things to be too rigid. I don't like to feel like it's not a vacation because we're go. I think I actually do like this new multipass system better than when they had the Genie Plus. And one of the main reasons I like it is your lightning lanes can overlap. That never used to be the case. And it was so hard to plan things because you're like, great, these two rides are right next to each other. And I got to screw around for like 45 minutes because I got on this one so fast. And my lightning lane doesn't start for this one for another whatever amount of time.
Yeah, that was always a pain.
Yeah, so I like that you can overlap them. I like that you can adjust them. I didn't feel any kind of stress, and also thanks to Caitlin because she handled it all, but it was also adjustable. Like, she was like, oh, we're not going to get on Everest right now. Let me move it to later in the day. And
I will say this.
You don't use them.
I literally opened the Disney app this time because you girls were so great on this trip. I opened the Disney app just to see what room we were in. Like, literally, I didn't use the app the entire trip.
Yeah.
Like, because again, I don't need to look at it and say, what's the wait times of this? I can walk by it. I'm like, hey, there's the wait times this.
Yeah.
I don't go into look at those things, but I'll go into where it says, hey, your room's ready. Which room? Let me see where we're at.
Like you, I do hate the idea that we have to pay for something that used to be free. But I also will say, I think that's what keeps the waits down. I think when FastPass was free, the lines got so long. And so I do think that, to me, I call it the
Universal charges a lot for that service too, like
it's
the Express.
The palm grease, Josh. It's the, hey, if I slipped you $20, can I get on Guardians right away? That's what I think of it as. It's like, oh, the individual.
Does that work?
Grease it up. That's what it feels like to me. That's why I'm willing to do it. And again, I think I get more out of my day doing those things. I like to kind of like maybe do the stuff in the beginning of the day and then have the rest of the day to like chill and relax and hang out and whatever. But I do think that each person, I think that's another reason why it's important to know how someone does Disney before you plan a trip together. Because even two married people may want to do it differently. Like Amy likes to plan it all out. Her husband Chris may be more into the like, let's chill and relax. And so when you have two different ways of doing Disney, like I thought it was nice, you and I The girls took Mozzie on Smuggler's Run because neither you nor I wanted to get on that. And you and I did what we wanted to do most, which was go to Baseline, get a cocktail, hang out there, park mom, put her brakes on, and hang out. And that was great. Like
Make
just
sure
that little
mom
amount
doesn't roll down a hill.
right.
It's really my only thing I have to do, and then I can have a drink.
That little amount of time that you and I got to do that was like such a great little like recharge in the
That
day.
is, let's just say that, like, Baseline, we've went over this a ton of times. I'm like,
Yep.
doesn't matter how you do Disney. If you don't do this and you're somebody that enjoys any kind of cocktail, whether you're getting a true cocktail kind of thing or just like you're a beer person, you want like an IPA, whatever else it is. But that vibe, nothing vibes in a park, inside the park, like when you're actually see people walking around you, like Baseline. Baseline is that hub thing. Like Nomad's great off the beaten path. You're not really looking at anybody. You have a great view. But I feel like Baseline hits differently when you're just out there undercover and you're sitting and you're like, this is a point of operation for our base.
Actually, Baseline's terrible. Nobody go there because now that this podcast gets out, Baseline will be packed. All of our
look at this way.
listeners will be
I'm doing the love averages.
Yeah.
13 people watch this podcast right
now.
And what's the chance of all 13? I'm just kidding.
Yes, we have 1,500 subscribers now. We are like really going well. I'm very thankful.
Gina is killing it.
Anyone who subscribes and actually watches, we are very, very grateful for that. But I want to say though, I agree with you. I don't know what it is. It's hard to put into words. It gives you this kind of like, I have this weird mentality about me that I've had since I was a young adult that I love when I'm walking around Disney parks, not Magic Kingdom so much, but Epcot and Hollywood Studios especially, and just kind of envision like, what if this was my property? What if this was like my neighborhood? What if this was whatever? Especially when I'm walking around World Showcase, I used to always love the idea. What if this was our giant family compound and each of these countries represented each of our houses and this is how we walk to each other's place? I also do it at Disney Springs. But at Hollywood Studios, I feel like Baseline gives that vibe. Like it's like a little kind of like neighborhood spot, but with the little Edison lights, it still gives it that little touch of elegance vibe. It's chill. It's not like stuffy, but it's not like divey either, you know? Like, and I think the service there is always top notch. I know a lot of people that go there specifically just because they love certain bartenders there. And it's just chef's kiss. Like I love Baseline so much.
Well, that's so you get locals that come in because I know what Disney does do a good job of is the annual passes for Florida residents. You can usually get a pretty decent deal. They have all kinds of different things they did for a while. I don't know what they've changed a lot with those.
Yeah.
But it's so much more affordable for them. But they want people that are there that come in because they know that's like the odd hours. Like people will be like, I want to go in an afternoon when the park might not have as much attendance in it. They get some more sales because everything's a bolster of sales. So they want to get somebody in the park to buy cocktails and if they're going there to grab a drink or somebody get food because they're just like, it's just not enough people in there to satisfy whatever their nut is for, what they want to take in a day.
Calling back though to real quick to the Cabin podcast, when you were talking about the ladies that we met at Animal Kingdom at the Thirsty River, like that's a perfect example. I would 100% when you and I go back to Animal Kingdom be like, oh, and we got to jet over there and get a drink. Now they weren't giving us anything free. Like a lot of people thinking, I bartended for nearly a decade and people think that, oh, you love that bartender because they give you free stuff. Like that's not it. It's always a vibe
and how you do,
how you treat people. And Disney bartenders generally aren't able to give anything away for free. I'm not.
You bring the magic in, Gina. The magic.
But I would 100% go back to that bar and seek them out just because they were awesome.
Well, that was Carrie and Stacy. And for those of you who haven't been over to the podcast on Spotify, I encourage everybody to go. Make sure you're following us on the Spotify thing. We are going to do bonus content on Spotify because it makes it easier. YouTube, I'll be honest with you, you don't want to sit up here just at a stagnant or a static image looking at the screen and then having some audio flow under it. I'm like, that's not great for you. But Spotify, you go hook it up while listening on your phone, in your car, whatever you want to do.
Bonus content meaning we're not in the studio doing it. We have this
we're actually on location, podcast mics, headphones, all that kind of stuff, and just doing some off the cuff things. I feel like that'd be a great episode. But just to give you a little peek, because there's a lot of great stuff in there, we feel. But we went to the Thirsty River Bar over by Everest, and we gave a couple like challenge coins that I have. The ones I do for like the Disney cast members. I think I have one here somewhere because I always do that as I move my camera. Good job. That's going to be great for post editing when I jam my camera into things.
Still looks good.
Is it good? Is it good now? Okay. Sorry, everybody. So my Disney little challenge coin here, having the handy dandy bag, we gave one each to Carrie and Stacy, who we find out that they have worked there collectively for over, between the two of them, over 60 years and closer to 70. But one's 33 years and one is 35 years work there. They said they get stuff from guests all the time. And they even said, they're like, when we gave them these, because they were just very sweet. And it wasn't like we just give this to anybody, but you could tell somebody like, oh yeah, I'll get you this. And like, you're not like bothering them. They're happy to wait on you. They've got a big smile on their face. It was
Yeah.
just a whole vibe. So we went to take a picture and Gina and I were like, can we take a picture with you? We were doing a thing. So we take a picture and then the, I think it was one of them's in the picture and the one's in the background. Okay. And she goes, did you look at your picture? What? And she's like, kind of like in
Yeah.
the background. And I'm like, oh, that's so funny. She's like, yeah, I wanted to get in the picture. So we like those kind of interactions. We're sitting there, it's hot and everything. I was like, I want to go give them a coin because they just kind of gave me that magical feeling. And it might not be
Yeah.
a big deal for other people, but it's a big deal for us when you do. And we didn't realize how long they worked there. And I really
No.
noticed that they had one of their cast member pins on that's like, have Tinkerbell or whatever else it might be on. But we go over and give them the coins and everything. And then we came back again. They're like, okay, we get a lot of stuff from different people that come in the parks, and we always hang them right over here. Like they have a little space where it's just, so we love this stuff. They give it to us. And she said her and the other, both Carrie and Stacey said to each other, like, this is the only thing that's going home with us, which was meant a lot to me. Not to brag about the coin I designed, but it's like, it's because it says, thank you for restoring the magic. Thank you for being one of those people. We appreciate you, kind of thing. It meant a lot from like two people that literally worked for this company for over 30 years. And
Yeah.
so this is the first, and I'm quoting them, the first time we have taken something home with us.
Yeah.
And I was like, that just touches my heart in a million ways. And I'm like, you know what? That is so great.
It was so
So I
great.
thought that was a really cool thing to happen. But, that's why we're going to do a little more of that kind of stuff in the parks. Also want to see from like people that are listening to our podcast, people that listen to us on Spotify or on YouTube, watching the actual video podcast. We want to do some more stuff to get you guys involved in our podcast. We don't want to kind of do the cliche thing where here, enter this contest and like, share, and do all that stuff. There'll be some of that because we have to.
Yeah.
'cause,
And nothing
that's how
against
things
that.
work.
That's always a fun way to grow your following.
But I want to be able to, like, the people that are, especially the people that go, and there's a lot of people we could shout out that are always the first to post something on there and say, oh, thank you. And such a supportive
We can't say it enough.
community. Can't say enough good things. And we have a lot of things probably upcoming with some different collabs and everything too. But we want to be able to give stuff to those people, say, oh, we'll send you a couple coins here for you to go and give out at the park. Or we did this little thing. We're going to do some merch stuff. And we're not looking to make a ton of money off merch. We have some really cute ideas for some other stuff in conjunction with the theme park chuckle stuff that we do. We work with as well. We just like to do little fun things to celebrate the Disney fandom, because Disney is one of those destinations. Again, how do you do Disney? It's like, people don't only just look into what they're doing at the parks, what they're wearing to the parks. If they're going to Disney Bound, and for those of the people that might be watching the podcast that don't even know what Disney Bounding is basically taking a Disney costume character or any kind of character Disney has and kind of taking a spin on it where you don't violate Disney rules by wearing a costume to the park that's not during Not So Scary Halloween. And you get to kind of do a play on it. So you do like something that looks kind of like a Cinderella kind of dress.
Inspired
by. It's a parody on it, basically. And I feel like those kind of things are just like so fun, but people get so hyped. They're like, we did this, we did that, we did this, we did that. And it was just such a it's a different thing than anywhere else you go. Like people might buy a bathing suit for like Cancun, or unless you're on a bachelorette party or like bachelor party or something, say, oh, we got matching this and we got sunglasses that says this idiot's getting married or whatever else. It might say something stupid on it, but Disney, it's like almost feels like everything you can do. People are looking for things to buy and things to take with them and little tips and tricks. That is like, I wonder how many times somebody honestly Googles before they go on their Disney trip. I feel like Google is just getting exhausted. And they're like, okay, what to bring, how to pack, what's this going to be like? Do I need this? Do I need that? There's a million different ways you can do things for the parks. And I feel like that, like, again, outfits, like Gina, like you go into the park, you're like, I've got to bring stuff in case it's hot. Women have a lot more decisions to make than guys do.
Mm-hmm.
The guys are like, here's my tank top and here's my shorts and I got a pair of flip-flops. That's basically
well, this is like women also have a lot more add-ons like this because we drove this past trip. I packed more than I would normally because this was my opportunity to pack like multiple lounge flies or bags, multiple different kinds of shoes, all the hair and jewelry accessories. Cause I'm a pretty like low key person on like the normal day at this stage in my life. I used to be a way more extra.
Mhm.
And so it was nice being able to have that opportunity, but it's like 2 outfits a day because I'm going to want to change for dinner if we go to a bar or something like that. But I will say that even me, Caitlin, and Stephanie, who all have Disney stuff in our closets, when we planned this past trip, we were all messaging each other going, "Oh, I'm getting this for Disney. I ordered this for Disney." It's exciting. And I think that lends maybe to, even though when you're a kid, you're not shopping for yourself, you remember
Mhm.
how exciting it was if your parents got you something new for a trip or like school clothes, new school clothes. It kind of just drives the excitement. You know what I mean? And I think that's another element of who are you going with. Like if you are traveling with somebody who does Disney and is just seeing Disney as an amusement park, I think it's, unless you think that there's a chance you could open their eyes, it's a very different vibe than going with someone who gets Disney. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do think that we've rubbed off on a lot of people that we've taken that maybe we're kind of like, they see Disney and they think it's the same as like Hershey Park or Universal or something
Mhm.
like that. And it's like, no disrespect to those parks, but it's like Disney is a culture. We've talked about it so many times, and it is this youthfulness and it is this magic, our favorite word. So I think that knowing these things about who you're going to Disney with, because you don't want to go, like if you're with a group of friends, you don't want to go with somebody who's going to make fun of me because I'm in my 40s and I'm wearing mouse ears and like a cute little like Disney outfit. I don't want to go with somebody who's going to mock me for that. I don't want to go
Well,
with somebody.
you always look well put together when you go, and your outfits are always well
My
thought
birthday
out.
house, my brother complimenting me so
Don't
much.
get used to it. But
I
anyway,
love
no,
it.
we have a great relationship, Gina and I.
Yeah.
But it's like, but you always have the thing, and you don't care about standing out from the crowd. Like Gina could do anything, say anything, do anything, walk around, wear whatever she wants, and she just unapologetically herself. It's what I love about you because you're like, here, I'll wear this, I'll wear that. I don't care. I'm like, it's me being me, and that's wonderful.
I
But
do.
women, again, like when you talk about what women do with the parks, because they've got other things to consider when you go through humidity. You know,
Mhm.
when you go to Disney parks, a lot of people don't think about when they plan. My wife always teases her like she's Monica from Friends when she went and
Mhm.
like Chandler's like goes, I came here with Monica. I'm leaving with Weird Al because like her hair, the humidity went out like this. So women have hair issues when they get in humidity. They have makeup issues when they have stuff where it's like they feel like their face is melting off because women do a lot to please us men. And I'm very thankful for it because, you know, it's a nice thing. You put a lot of effort in. We should say thank you. I'm not trying to be ultra,
I'm gonna blow your mind. Some of us women do it not to please men, but just to please ourselves, and we like how that
I
looks.
prefer to think that you do it just to please
We do
us.
it because
So if
we
you
like how it looks. It's not always
bring
to
it back
please
to me,
somebody
I don't
else.
care what you wear because it's you do you. I'm like, I'll walk around with you. I don't care what you look like. But
Thank you.
it's and I
Clearly, from
appreciate
the
my
home
wife.
movies that we were watching, clearly. Yeah.
But
God.
again, like I'm not I don't have to go through all that kind of stuff. I throw
Yeah.
some my main thing is make sure you have deodorant on. Make sure you have sunblock on so I don't look like I was sitting 2 inches from the sun and I look like a tomato by the end of the day. And I've got decently olivey skin to a certain tone every once in a while, but I
I
do get sunburn and the head's the worst spot.
Yeah. I do want to bring in a story though, personal story though, because I keep going back to these videos and I had so much fun watching them. The videos of our trips that were from 2000, 2001. Is that the ones? It's crazy to think how long ago that
It's
was. Cause in
somewhere
my
in that.
mind,
It's anywhere
yeah,
from like the late
because the Millennium
90s.
Village was there and, so things like that. But just watching, it's so funny because there was no smartphones, obviously, back then. You were carrying an actual video camera and just taping us walking through things. And at the time, that would have been like, Josh, why are you just taping us walking through the store? But now it's like so like I covet footage
Yeah, you're
like that
happy I did it, aren't you?
because it's like, oh my God, look at that store. Look how that changed. Look at my outfit. Look at this. It is such a like piece of history for us now, like personal, but also Disney history to see like what it looked like. And I want to say that I think that now, even though we have video cameras at the ready in our smartphones, we
We
probably
just don't
don't
do
do
it.
things like that anymore. And it's kind of a bummer. Like maybe it's somebody vlogging or somebody on their Insta story, but we're not doing enough like random video footage. And you really will love it later on in life to have it because just even watching, like seeing what the lines were like us, oh, okay, because there was no fast passes. It was like, all right, let's go get on this or let's go do this or what have you. And it was just fun. And Josh is annoyed because on the one trip, he was talking like Triumph the Insult comic the whole video. And
Oh,
I think
no.
it's
Yes, I
hilarious.
was.
I think it's hilarious. He's doing commentary of everyone walking by. And a funny part was another thing that was different is that just randomly in Hollywood studios, Cruella DeVille and like the evil queen like walked by, no handlers, nothing, because they didn't have Disney handlers back then. The characters just like walked by on their way to wherever, and then like Alice in Wonderland walked by, and you're like, "Where are you going, baby?" And it was she's like, "Oh, I've got to go off to one, to Wonderland." But things like that. That were so different.
I wish I had the video, and I think it's because the tape itself broke, and it broke my heart too, no pun intended, because I went around one time just going through, and it was like this video of asking certain employees if they like working for Disney. And like some people just had weird reaction to it. I got smacked by a cast member one time. It was hysterical, not hard, but I was like, that's assault. But it was a funny video that I would love to have seen. Just
You've
because there's
outgrown that.
sometimes where I get a little more brazen about things, and I'll get a little more that those just a little more gutsy about what I say, and it's always respectful. It's nothing that's going to make somebody feel ultra awkward.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just funny to me. But it's a lot of great memories for us.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, bring it back to like how you do Disney. So you
Mhm.
have the different people. You've got the really ultra. I got to plan out every aspect of my trip. You
Mhm.
got the more laid back people. You've got the local just stopping in, grabbing something kind of traveler. You got the newbie traveler who's going to try to get stuff and has no idea what they're in store for or how they want to do it, and they're kind of like
Yeah.
trying to figure things out as they go. And then you got the people like that are just kind of completely blasé about everything, and they're completely content with letting somebody else plan the entire trip for them.
And then you've got the solely there for content creation people.
Yeah, so you got people that are there just for it's a self-serving kind of thing, and it's fine if that's what
I
you're
mean,
doing.
that's a
That's fine.
business for them. So many people have made a
Yeah,
business.
I'm like, my thing is always going to be from that is my advice to people, and like we try to be very respectful where we do things, how we do things, and it's just remember that other people are enjoying something. Like we went back to the thing where I told you people talking on rides. Like if you're live streaming, they're talking about taking that away from people like actually like live streaming things. It's fine to video a ride and all, but you don't need to talk through it.
You did it
Remember,
with Everest. You did it with Everest. Which
yeah, I was just, and my God, never try to hold your cell phone on Everest. That'd be the worst
that
video to
was a
watch.
very gutsy move.
And I was like, it didn't do anything for my queasiness going backwards. I was like, oh, this is a lot rougher than I remembered.
Yeah.
But they're fun things like that. But I feel like the way I do it, it works for me. If you do it a different way, it works for you. That's fine. And we can meet in the middle somewhere. Like this last trip, I wasn't mad about anything. I just said, this is different than what I'm used to. I'm glad that the mornings didn't start ultra early, even though I do get up earlier. Stephanie, who's on the trip, gets up earlier than the chickens. Like she'll get up and spill coffee everywhere before you even get up. I know she'll watch or listen to this, and she's like,
but that's why the cabins worked out so nicely, because I could not hear you guys. Like I wake up, but I don't get up early all the time because one, I need like a good 30 minutes to get my neck like warmed up to like get out of bed, because it's like so achy from sleeping. Again, those who know I have neck issues, but I don't always get up. I'll just kind of like relax there, chill. I like to take but if I had to get up and get out of the door, I've been ready at 3 a.m. before to drive to Disney. But I do think that it is exciting to take a trip with someone that you've never taken a trip before, but it is always going to be a gamble. So I guess my advice to people would be maybe talk it out a little first if you're going to take a Disney trip, because one, it's a very large investment in time and money. But maybe chat it out with a friend. If you're going to say, oh, we're going to go to Disney, get some expectations, because I'd hate to see you go away with friends and one's got this idea of like, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And they have every right to want to do Disney that way. And then somebody else is like, oh, I just thought we'd chill and kind of walk around here and do this. And then who's going to give up the way they want to do Disney?
I think you hit the nail on the head is set expectations of what your trip's going to be like, because that's again, that'll help you kind of head off some potential arguments and disagreements or whatever while you're down there. And it's difficult because remember, there's things that are, and the other things, how you do Disney, always keep this in mind. Be willing to pivot on anything you've planned.
Sometimes the best things will happen when you pivot.
There is so many things that can go on. Like we've been there in a hurricane. Everything got wiped out, but you know what? It's some of the best memories we've had.
Yeah, I've done 2 hurricanes there.
You should remember that you're there with your friends or loved ones, and the fact that you're there together should always be a blessing anyway. Okay, that you get to spend that time
in Disney. You do not want to be fighting in Disney. Like, let your pride stay out of the way. Josh, perfect example of pivoting though. is that the night that we recorded that cabin podcast, we were all talking about changing and going over to Enchanted Rose and okay, let's go get some drinks. And that was like our plan. And then we were like, oh, let's watch the fireworks. Okay. And then it just turned into, we're going to do the podcast tonight. And we did. And it was one of the greatest memories of the
And
trip.
it also turned into one of the other nights when we were doing it, where watch Josh struggle with a nice bottle of wine that the cork turned to dust in and have to strain through a coffee filter. Ridiculous, but great memories.
Yeah, I will say that Disney can provide a lot of, both ways of doing it, and it's still working out nicely. I do think you can't, especially if you're not a frequent Disney goer, you can't just go completely unplanned. You have to have some idea. I mean, thankfully now for the most part, park reservations, even for annual pass holders, are gone until July 20th when the new nighttime parade comes and they're bringing it back for Magic Kingdom, that you have to have it for any time of the day. And I get all that, whatever, it is what it is. Yeah. But for the most part, you need to have an idea. Yes, my planning comes down to, we're going to be at these parks these days. I like to know that in advance, even if we're not doing park reservations. I like to have an idea of what parks we're going to, what day. And then I have an outfit that goes according to that park. And like you said, for our family, especially like you, me, I'd say Danny also, our plan comes all around the meals, because we're going to say, where do we want to eat? That's the first thing we say. When we go on this trip, what restaurants do we want to hit? Okay, the ones that are in theme parks, that dictates what day we go to that theme park. And then we kind of work around it. And I 100% agree with you. Like doing 2 like sit down meals in a day is a lot, unless you're doing like a breakfast, which we maybe do one sit down breakfast and then do dinner, but I wouldn't do that.
Here's a pro tip I will give. Okay. And this may be, I wouldn't say controversial for people, because it depends on schedules, because everything you've got to work around schedules. And especially when you have children, because not everybody wants to take their kids out of school. But I'll tell you this, if you're doing a dream vacation to Disney, I would not suggest to somebody that's doing Disney for the first time, do not do it in the summer. Do not take a summer trip to Disney. It's going to be hot. You are going to have more bad things to say than good things at the end of the time, because the heat is
unless you come from a climate where you are very
unless you're already in Florida. Like Florida, you know what you've gotten into, and God have mercy
from Africa or Australia.
I would say don't do that. Do something like maybe towards the spring, like late winter or something like that, where the weather's starting to change for the better and you're still in the 70s, 80s kind of thing in Florida. Go in that. Got to watch like the rain season, which is all the time for Florida anyway. We
lucked out this trip. We really lucked out.
We had beautiful weather, and I hope to have more of the same, knock on wood. But I feel like make sure you have a time of year you're going that you're not going to be overrun with crowds. Research that first. That will make your Disney vacation so much better, so much more fruitful, if I can use that as a word. I don't know the last time I used fruitful, but whatever. That can play the biggest part, and you really enjoying it. Could be the make or break thing too, because I know for me, if I'm going somewhere I've never been, you've got to figure out system. No matter how many times somebody can tell you how something works, until you do it, you don't know how it's done. It's like I could teach you how to drive a certain vehicle. I could tell you how it's done, but until you get behind the wheel, you don't really know what you got in. You're in for. That's the same principle of going somewhere for vacation, because once you start using a fast pass system or a multi-pass system, once you start getting into the parks, knowing how long different rides are. Again, pro tips from everyone: take them. If you're not a big parade person, use that time to go and get in line for a ride that may have been a little longer, that's shorter.
Eat meals at off times. Do not eat lunch at like noon or 1 o'clock. We went to Cosmic Rays this time. We went early. We had our pick of every single table in there, because we went at like 11, I think. And
that was man. Then it just filled in.
We were done. Shoom, the like cattle herd came in and everybody ate. So same as
it's that thing in your brain clicks on. Oh, it's time to eat. But I'll tell you what, I'm like, there was a lot of things, and you do luck out. Like you luck out with a lot of stuff in the park if you do and you make the right decisions. Again, parades. Go get on a ride during that time if you're not a parade person. Me, I've never been a parade person. I'll see it once, and I'm like, I've seen it.
Daytime parade person. I love the evening parade.
Oh, it's like the old electrical light, the Main Street
that. But daytime parades, I'm kind of like,
Magic, all that stuff.
Passing by. As it goes by, I just walk in that direction, like that it's coming, like it's going the opposite direction.
Again, the same thing with fireworks. I'm
Yeah.
not a huge firework person. I'll do them. I'll see like them from afar, like from the cabin or something like that, from another
And my
resort.
son prefers it that way. He doesn't like the noise, and I hated the noise when I was little. I would watch fireworks
It
with
can
my
be a
hands
bit much.
over my ears as a child. I hated it. Mom and dad always wanted to stay for them, and I hated it. So that's why I don't mind. Like if we're lucky enough to be at a resort where we have fireworks viewing, I'd much rather watch them from the resort.
Yeah, I mean, watch them from like you can hear the booms from anywhere, but like I can watch them through the glass of things. I don't have to be out with the
Yeah.
entire amount of that. But
Yeah.
but again, do things, make some good choices. Get in lines for rides. Go change your schedule, like Gina said. There's all kinds of way to do Disney, and there's no wrong way to do Disney. The only wrong way to do Disney is to not do Disney.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I will say that's the only wrong way you can do Disney is to not give yourself a chance. And we realize not everybody's is blessed to be able to go on this trip. If you are somebody that was able to go, it's not a cheap trip, but it is worth the trip,
Yeah.
depending on how you get there and what decisions you make. You can make a bad trip to anywhere. You can go to Hawaii and have a bad time,
Yeah.
because you're like, oh, we stayed at this thing that was nowhere near anything. We couldn't get anywhere and there was no food. You can have a bad
Just
time
set your
anywhere.
expectations, like
Yeah.
plan out, talk to the people you're going with, see what everybody's expectations are and what their, ideal Disney vacation is and what they want to get. Because there's sometimes, even if you're totally different, you can find a happy like meeting place, right? Like if you're
Mhm.
there for a full week, you say, okay, we do each park maybe twice, maybe,
Mhm.
and with park hopping and everything. And you say, okay, how about the first day we go to Epcot, we do lightning lanes, and then the second day we don't, So it's
Yeah.
like you can have a happy medium. Maybe certain days you get up early and certain days you sleep in. Like there are ways. I think just managing the expectations up front is a really helpful thing to do.
And I hope the information we gave you guys in this, I know that some things are a little bit more vague in certain respects, but Disney's changed a lot over the years, like I already pointed out before, with the Fast Pass system being introduced, and then other things, and the digital Genie Plus
Yeah.
and Multi Pass, and all these things. And they've got like the Premier Lightning Lane or whatever it's called, where you can go. Basically, it's kind of like the Universal Express Pass. There's a lot of things that you can do now, and if you're able to take advantage of them, take advantage of them. Me, I've done everything. So to do something again, probably not going to pay to do it again unless it's like a premium thing. And I can do like Guardians once before my stomach. And again, pro
Yeah.
tips, I keep saying it, I'm like, if you're on there, just stand your belly a little bit when you do that, or at least when the person comes, give yourself a little bit of room, like a very small amount, but don't tuck that thing deep into you
I'd say that for
because
all
it's
the
going to
rides,
make you
though,
sick.
honestly, with
Yeah.
Tron, Flight of Passage,
On
like none of
women,
them you
say like
want.
again, it's uncomfortable for women, especially if you're how to put this. Maybe if you're a chestier woman and you go, it's not a comfortable position for that,
Yeah.
and you get uncomfortable on it. Do that. It's the same thing. Flight of Passage. There's a lot of things, and again, Mozzie, your
Rock and
son, my
roller
nephew,
coaster.
was on there. They had to loosen the restraints on him, and again, don't be afraid to say something when
Yeah.
you're
You
on
don't want
the
to go through
ride.
that whole ride
Do
miserable.
not go uncomfortable. Do not get on Soarin', be an adult, put the little thing through the loop like an idiot, like I did, and then have this, for lack of better words, frontal wedgie thing happening where everything is just, there's things where they're not supposed to be, and it hurts, and you go up because you're too shy to say something. I know me, right? Shy to say something like, hey, can you unbuckle this so I could take this horribly uncomfortable thing out? No, you just sit there with your hands over your lap and say, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
As you're hoisted 70 feet in the air or whatever else it is. But remember, you can say things to them. They'll gladly hit the unlock thing, readjust it for you. As long as you're safe in there, that's all that counts, that you're not going to come out.
Right.
Littler riders.
And don't think like, I mean, with little kids, obviously it's one thing, but if you're a grown adult, that extra little space between you and the bar is not going to get you flying out of the ride. So like,
Well, that's what I
don't be
appreciate
afraid
about
to get
Guardians.
so close to yourself, like Rock and Roller Coaster, just because it has inversions,
Yeah.
like it's not going to snap back just because you don't have it pressed all the way to your chest.
Well, Guardians, the saving grace for them is the air quality flow through there.
Yeah.
I can't follow the screens; it'll make me sick. But I'm like,
No,
it's
neither.
just the smoothness of that ride and the fact it's a very airy kind of ride makes it better. I did this time, my hands in the air, like felt like I was 13 again, like on a ride, and I'm like, and then I got off and I was like, oh yeah,
that's a good length of ride too. That's something to talk about in a future podcast. Is like length of rides and length of weight.
I think that's perfect. I
to
think when they hit Guardians, they hit perfection on length of ride and ride experience.
I do too.
I feel like they hit it on maybe like the visuals in there with the screens are a little hard to follow. I feel like there could be other things that are static items, but we'll get to that for a future podcast. For now, we'll put a pin in it. But but we will go to our shout out section. Shout out. And Gina, who we shouting out this here particular episode?
Well, first and foremost, we've mentioned them several times already, but we do want to give another shout out just to our cabin crew from this last trip. It was fantastic. Our mom, my son Massimo, Caitlin, and as we are now referring to her as the Trivia Queen,
Stephanie, the Trivia Queen. Watch a Spotify episode for a newbie. She really brings it.
But on that note, too, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead or we'd plan this for next week, but I also do want to give a shout out to our older sister, Missy, and her daughters, Braylon and Brisa, who joined us, because that was a really nice special treat on the trip. And Missy helped you by pushing mom's wheelchair a bunch of the times. So that was great for you. Another, can you take that off my face for a second, please? Okay, thank you. Another shout out we want to give is to another Disney content creator, another Disney podcaster, actually, who's on the left coast, who's more of a Disneyland podcaster, but still touches on Disney. And that is the Magic of Mayhem. And Austin is the host of that. So it's an individual host. And he does
a great job. He does a great job.
We actually listened to him on our drive to Disney. And I will say, it's so funny. I said to Josh, I go, he's kind of got like a classic music, like NPR voice, and we're like pop music and sometimes rock, like in your face. So
he's like that classic. You can listen to him. We're like, who gave Gilbert Godfrey a lot of sugar and said, start a podcast? That's Gina.
Oh, that's us. Yes. We're the Gilbert Godfrey podcast. He's very, like I said, kind of like an NPR vibe where it's like, I could picture him doing like song dedications. It's like, it's just a really good vibe and very enthusiastic.
This one goes out to Beth and Sam.
Yeah. So give him a follow also. Check out his podcast, but also follow him on social. So you can see some snippets of it there as well. And he's got a great history of what he's done in his life.
So, give him a look.
But shout out to him because we're hoping to do something or planning to do something in the future with him. So stay tuned. But yeah, I would love to remind you all to, as we're closing in on the end of this episode, is to follow all of us on our start over, Gina. Follow us on all of our socials. We are at BBT Magic Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Please follow us on both. We appreciate it. You know, we are on YouTube and we are on Spotify. We have a Facebook. If anybody even still uses that, I don't know. What I would love for you to do is
that's called Toxic Book.
I would not like you not just to follow us, but if you feel called to, please obviously subscribe on YouTube. Comment when you can, because we really do love the interaction. It's not just about the engagement on social, but it's like, I love reading what everyone has to say. So on this particular episode, we'd like to know, how do you do Disney? Are you somebody that likes to do rope drop to park close? Are you somebody that likes to plan out every second before you go? Are you somebody that just kind of goes with the flow? And on that note, depending on what you answer, tell us, are you an annual pass holder? Because that does factor into, I think, the answer. But please continue to engage with us. I've tried to be really engaging with everyone that we follow on social in a very genuine way. I love seeing you guys stuff. I love, talking to you guys. I've just met some really awesome people through this process, and I'm just like so grateful. It doesn't even feel like,
that's so
it doesn't feel like work. I told Josh today, I go, this is what we're supposed to be doing, because I've always dreamt I could have something I do that I really genuinely love and feel comfortable doing and feel, not to sound cocky, a little confident doing, because I know this topic. Even when we're wrong about it, that's fine. We don't care. We're not here for facts. Just remember, that's going to be our tagline on our t-shirts.
It's not
bring back the magic. We're not here for facts. We're here for memories.
Way I look at it with Disney, you can go in place, let's say you were in Lowe's or Home Depot. Okay, we'll go with Lowe's for a certain so for a certain buddy of mine, in case he listens to this podcast, Lowe's, and he works for them. You go and ask somebody where something is, like, oh, that's an aisle, whatever. Here, go do this, go do this. You can go up here. It's on this left side, right? That's kind of like when I hit Disney World. When I'm in the Magic Kingdom, they're like, hey, how do you get to this? Oh, you go up to here. You can make a left at the end of Main Street. You're going to go past here. You're going to go by Sleepy Hollow. And right past Sleepy Hollow, you're going to see the Hall of Presidents. As you go past the Hall of Presidents, that little outdoor little market area there, we can get some fresh fruit and all. Make a right there. You'll see Columbia Harbor House in front of you. To the left of Columbia Harbor House, you're going to see the Haunted Mansion and Memento Mori. This kind of things you just know because it is second nature to you. It's like it doesn't even compute to anybody. You're like, oh, how do you get here? Somebody pulls out a guide map. I'm like, rookie. Just kidding. I don't make fun of anybody but myself a lot. but it's like those kind of things you feel very confident in your skill set in
Yeah.
what you're comfortable with in the parks, and that's one of them. Like, I can just be like, I can walk through here blindfolded. Now, the
Yeah.
one caveat is there's certain parts of Animal Kingdom
Animal
that I
Kingdom,
turn
because it all
around,
looks the
and I'm
same.
like, was
'Cause it all
Maharaja
looks
Jungle
the
Trek to the left
same.
over where Kali? Yeah, it is. I'm like, and I
Yes,
have to think
yes,
about it
yes.
sometimes
That's just the
because
only problem. It looks
it's just kind of not as well marked in certain places.
differentiated. It's like the different lands don't look
Yeah.
vastly different the way Magic Kingdom, obviously Frontierland and Tomorrowland look vastly different. And in Epcot, all the countries look different. Hollywood Studios are very like IP themed lands. So it's just really Animal Kingdom where it's pretty much trees and little
Yeah.
stands. Like it doesn't really look very different.
Well,
To
yeah,
be honest.
exactly. And I'm like, it's same thing with Epcot. And speaking of Epcot, let's go to our sponsor here as we close out the show. Our sponsor, themeparkchuckle.com. Go on there, grab yourself a Disney-based t-shirt or two, such as this Let's Get Trashed t-shirt featuring everyone's favorite World Showcase little trash can on there and festival dining table if you've been to any of the festivals and had the privilege of eating on top of them. This shirt is available on themeparkchuckle.com, so give them a look. Thank you, Theme Park Chuckle, for the sponsor.
Thank you, Theme Park Chuckle.
Yes, and Gina's already given us our socials and everything else. So with that, we'll close out the show. Thank everybody for joining us, and please watch your head and step as you exit the podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Bring back the magic for all to see. Together we'll discover all the joy and glow. In every story, there's a little bit of gold. Join our podcast adventure, let the magic unfold.